Hi there, this is Aruva-chan, and today I'm going to be doing a lighting study and a self-portrait. Self-portrait. Yep, that's me. So, I am going to talk to you about toxic friends, toxic friendships. And my toxic friendship it didn't really start out as a toxic friendship. Honestly, I really enjoyed most of the friendship, and I often look back on it with very fond memories, but like a lot of things don't start out bad. They start out normal. And for me, my normal was I my my toxic relationship was with my cousin. And I know that I won't be able to avoid her for my whole life because currently we are not talking, but our relationship started out, we would come up to their house because we lived over in New Jersey and they lived in Pennsylvania. We would go over to their house only on special occasions, so Christmas, maybe the middle of summer when nobody had school, or whenever my parents could get a few days off. So we were good friends. She was I don't want to be mean, but she was a very bratty child. Most of the time she got her way, and whether that was from her own or her parents' influence, it didn't really matter. It didn't really matter because I enjoyed hanging out with her, and we often had really good times because they lived out in the woods and I was from the suburbs. So our relationship started off as that. We were cousins, and occasionally we would call each other from wherever I was living at the time. Now, I moved around a lot in my childhood, so I had a lot of experiences with people who weren't great, but I didn't usually stick around enough to actually become friends with them. So when I finally moved to where I live now, which is the town that she lives in, we started hanging out, and we actually became really, really good friends. And when I went to the high school, she was also in high school, but she was 2 years younger than me. When I went to the high school, I remember trying to fit in with her group of friends. But I was the shy, awkward kid who basically, the last school I went to, I didn't have very many friends. I probably had like 2. I couldn't really interact with her friends because they were the cheerleaders or whatever popular stereotype of my school. And I felt left out, and I felt like I didn't belong. And me being the kind of person I am, I often have extreme doubts about myself. So I told her this, and she says, "Oh, none of that happened, like, blah, 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 you're just making it up, blah, blah, blah. Like, it's all in your head, don't worry, like, blah, 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 it's fine, just come sit with us again." So I tried it a few more times, and I never really clicked with them, which, I was totally fine with. I had my one friend, and I went and I tried to make friends with the the weird kids, like kids who really weren't normal from the rest of the groups. So I basically, throughout my whole school career, I hung out with my group of weirdos, and I really enjoyed them, and I still am in contact with a few of them, but they've kind of become parents, or just they're doing their own thing, so it's kind of hard to keep up with them. But I kept in touch with my cousin because she was family, so it was very easy to keep in touch with her. But when I left high school, I went to a community college, and I didn't really make any friends. And now this wasn't a problem for me because I did still live at home and I was commuting. So I could always see my best friend, my cousin. And I was okay with that. And by the time the year was up, I hadn't made any friends. I'd made an acquaintance, and like we played Uno, but there wasn't really any friendship there. And I had gone a whole year without any more friends, so I still had my one best friend, which was really good for me. Now, she was my best friend because we knew each other inside out. Honestly, I doted on her hand and foot, and I appreciate the fact that she was my friend. I really do. But I went to college, I went to an actual college at a university, and I would hang out with my friends, and they would say something, and I would say something back, and I would expect to get a different reaction than the one I got from them. Like, if I said something that they didn't like, I kind of expected to be yelled at, because that's the way my cousin dealt with it. Like, she would yell at me. Or if my friends were hungry, I was kind of prepared for somebody to be in a terrible mood, because that's how she was. And it took me the entirety of my first year of actual college to realize that something didn't seem right in my relationship with her. Now, I went over to a friend's house with her, and I remember we were sleeping over, and she had already laid down to go to sleep, and I had to climb over her. And I was climbing over her, and my knee went down on her leg, and I'm not a light person. Like, I know I'm heavy. I'm a big girl, but I apologized as soon as it happened. I said, "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry." And she yells at me, "Why the heck would you do that? I don't understand what you were thinking, and I can't believe this. Like, why are you so stupid?" And like, I'm just sitting there like, what? Like, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do it. Like, I just really don't understand. I figure she's probably tired. So I go to bed. And more things like that started happening. And I never had realized this before, but it was the little things that started building up that really started to bug me. She was never nice when she was hungry, which I guess is understandable if you're really hungry, but you can control yourself. You don't need to be mean. Like, I remember I was in the mall with her once, and she was yelling at her mom because she was hungry and she needed something to eat. So her mom went and got her a pretzel. And when she came back, she's like, "I'm sorry, Mom. I love you, blah, blah, blah." Like, you're just gonna let that go? Like, your child just yelled at you in a public area. Like, this should be the other way around. I don't understand. But, like, a ton of different things like that happened. Another time was I was over at another one of our cousins' house with her, and we were playing a game, and they were sort of teasing me. Now, I'm a very, very sensitive person, and I have always been a sensitive person. So after the, like, 4th or 5th time they were saying, like, "Oh, shut up, you're so stupid, like, God, we hate you," internally, I just broke down, and I was texting my mom and shaking, because I couldn't understand why they were being so mean. And I said, "I don't know what to do," because I hadn't drove there. We drove over there in my cousin's car, and we were staying the night. So my mom texted me. She said, "Take her car keys and leave." Now me, I'm I'm so nervous about everything, and I can't just do things. I have extreme anxieties about them. So I text her back and forth every couple minutes, like, are you really sure I should do this? My mom would say yes, just leave her car at her house, and text her when you get home, say, hey, I went home, your car's at your house, it should be fine, blah, blah, blah. So after about 30 minutes of back and forth with my mom, I got up, put my shoes on, went outside, and I drove her car back to her house. And about halfway, I get a text message saying, I don't even know, like, you live a snitch, you die a snitch, and then it was like a cat with a BB gun. And I had to stop my car, and I pulled over, and I started crying, because it wasn't snitch, but I started crying on the side of the road because of how much it hurt me. And I put her car back in her driveway, and I had my mom pick me up, and I was bawling because I just couldn't believe what had happened. Now, I had apologized later on, like about 3 or 4 months later, because I had not talked to her in however many months. Like, she came to my little brother's birthday party, and we sort of just reconciled then, which, looking back, I should not have, because it's just been, I don't even understand. Another thing happened further on. Like, I started becoming friends with the one person we had slept over at, her friend, one of her friends. Now, I didn't really have any friends, so I was back at home, and I, like, did the funny thing of, we were all in the pool. We were swimming, even, and playing Marco Polo, but, like, I got out of the pool, and everybody kind of followed me, and she didn't hear any of us say polo when she said Marco, so she opened her eyes, and she was like, oh my god, Sarah, how could you? Like, nobody else was in this, it's just me. Like, how could I? Like, I was just being funny. Like, I figured you could probably handle everybody getting out of the pool, since that literally happens to me so often. Like, I know you've done it to me. So why is it so much problem when I do it to you? So she says that, and me and my little brother go home because I can't deal with that all the time. I really can't. Like, this was where my patience was starting to wear thin with her, because it was just, as soon as I did that, something kind of clicked in my head. So we went home after I talked with the friend, and I was saying, she probably hates me now, blah, blah, blah. Like, I kind of don't care. So I'm not really sure what happened. Oh, yes, I do. Oh my gosh. That night, I think, I texted her and I said, hey, I don't really think we should be best friends anymore. Like, I don't really know if you demote people and tell them that you're not really feeling them anymore, but that's kind of what I did. And she completely went off. Like, she was like, how dare you? Like, I've been your best friend forever, and I've defended you for however many times, like, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, when did you ever do any of this stuff? Like, maybe you've been my best friend, but I think I've been wrong this whole time. Like, you haven't been my best friend. Well, you've been my best friend, but I'm not on your priority list. It's me loving you that's on your priority list. And that went on for about 6 months where I didn't talk to her at all. And now, I'd already done this from when I had went home from my cousin's house, but so it was a few months ago, actually, now, where we have a family reunion that we all go to, and we go kayaking down a river. And I really didn't want it to be awkward between us, because I didn't really care. And I went to her house and I apologized again. Like, oh my god, I'm so stupid because I keep doing it, but I know I can't help it. It just comes out of my mouth, like, I'm sorry, like, no. But I apologized to her, and the words she said out of her mouth are, well, tough. And then I kept going, and she kind of gave me a hug. She's like, well, I've missed you too, like. And I told my friend that, and he said, what? She said tough? And I thought back on it. I was like, yeah, she did say tough. And she had told me a story about how when she had gone to a party with these friends of mine and hers, they tried talking her into having sex with this guy, and she kept saying no, she had a boyfriend, and she would never do that to him, and blah blah blah. Well, I told him that because he was like, hey, why hasn't she talked to us in a while? And I told him that. I said, oh yeah, she said she went to a party with you guys and blah 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 happened. And he was like, what? Like, no, that never happened. And essentially, she lied to me. So I texted her the next day. I said, why would you lie to me? Like, as soon as we get better, you lie to me. And she texted me like 20 times, like, what do you mean? I didn't lie to you. How could you say that? We just got better, blah, blah, blah. And I was at work at the time, so I was trying to text her back, like, yes, you did lie to me. I talked to them. They said that didn't happen. And I said, why would you lie to me? And the bad part is, I still wanted to be friends with her. I did, because I missed her. And that was part of me seeking the friendship that I used to have. And when I was on the canoe trip with her, it was terrible. Like, she didn't hang out with me at all. She hung out with her brothers and sisters, and I was basically number 2 the whole time, and I can't deal with that. I really can't deal with that. Because I've been number 2 my entire life. Like, I'm the second born. My name is Sarah, so I know like 8 different Sarahs. And I can't deal with that. So she texted me, and I couldn't answer, so I was working. So my other friend texted me, and she said, she was just at my house. I said, what? She said, yeah, she was just at my house. She just came in, she woke me up, and she was like, what did you tell Sarah? And it was, I was like, well, what did you tell her? She said, I just told her what I told you. And she said, she's coming to your house. And I text my parents, I say, Elizabeth should be coming to the house. And they said, we know, she's already in the living room. Like, ooh. So she comes into the house. My parents tell her that I'm at work, and I'm assuming not to bother me because I was not home. So she goes to my other friend's house, and she says, what did you tell Sarah? And basically, my friend said, I didn't tell her anything but what I told you. But, so, I ended it. I couldn't deal with the way she treated me, with the way she treated our friends, with the way she lied to me, and I ended it. I couldn't do it any longer. She didn't care about me, she only cared about the way I treated her, which was too good for her. Was way too good for her. And I know that now, because I've had a lot of time away from her. And she told me she cared about me. And honestly, I think in her mind she really believed that. But it wasn't true at all, and it really hurts when you love somebody and you think that they love you, and they think that they love you, but you really don't. You really don't love them, and they really don't love you. Well, that was kind of sad. If you want to hear any more of this stuff, just leave a like. And if you ever had an experience like this, leave it down in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. And if you want to hear more rants about anything, leave a suggestion down in the comments, and I will definitely look out for it. But yeah, thanks. Leave a like, comment, or even subscribe, and I would be very appreciative. Alright, bye!